Hi everybody, my name is Emily Thornton. I'm one of the librarians here at Brenau, and I'm here to talk to you about your PY101 research article project. You may or may not be familiar with this assignment. I believe it's listed in your syllabus. Just to give you a quick overview of the assignment, what you will be doing is finding a scholarly peer-reviewed article to use in the project. I'll show you how to do that. Then you're going to complete the handout, Structured Notes for Research Reading, which will take you step by step through the article to tell you how to pull out the information that you need. And then you're going to write a paper in APA style. So what we're going to do today is look at how to use the library and the PY101 LibGuide in order to find the article that you need, how to filter out the millions of articles that are not helpful to you to find something that you can actually use for this paper. Then we'll look at how to break down a scholarly article to get the information you need, and I'll show you some resources for how you can make sure that your APA citations and your APA paper formatting are all okay. So in order to do this project, you're first going to need to go to the library, and you can simply go to the library homepage, library.brenau.edu. It's right here, library.brenau.edu. Or you can click on the library link that's inside of all your Canvas courses. If you go to library.brenau.edu, it will take you to this page with a big search box in the middle and lots of library options. We encourage everybody, though, to pick the LibGuide that they want. The LibGuides are basically like customized web pages that the library builds for individual classes or for individual programs, and it just kind of delivers the information that you need to you. So I'm going to click on LibGuides up here. And this landing page is what you will see if you click library inside your Canvas course. So it shows 23 different subjects. These are a ton of different pages that we have customized for individual courses. Y'all, of course, are in psychology, so I'm going to scroll on down to psychology. And you see that we have made many different guides for different psychology classes. We are going to go to PY101 Introduction to Psychology, because that is the class you're working on right now. So I'll click on PY101 Introduction to Psychology, and it takes you to a library catalog search box. Before we get into actually searching for the articles that you need, I want to run through some of the options that you have here in the LibGuide. We'll come back to search in the library catalog in a little bit. I'm clicking on the tab that says Searching Tips and Source Evaluations, and this is information to tell you how best to get your hands on the information that you need. We'll talk about some of this in the session today. You can revisit this as well. So it explains, when you might use books versus articles versus Google used in a responsible way. There are basic search tips like things that we'll look at today, how to use different keywords and figure out how to communicate to the search engine what it is that you want, how to narrow down and filter to get rid of articles that are not useful to you. So you can revisit these if you'd like. When you click on the Article Databases tab, it explains what is a database. When librarians talk about a database, what do they mean? There's a list of databases that are frequently useful for psychology articles. We're just going to use the big library catalog for this assignment, but in future assignments, you might find it useful to use these commonly used databases. How to read a scholarly article. If you forget what we talk about today, about breaking down an article and figuring out, well, what's in the methods section? Where do I find follow-up information? That information is here. And also in future assignments, you're going to be told to find a permalink to an article. So when you find the article you want, how do you get a link that will actually work for your professor and all your classmates so that you get credit for finding it? That information is right here in this little video. You will also see this tab that says PY101 assignment, and before you get too excited, that's not the assignment we're talking about today. So hold on to this for a future date, but this tab about PY101 assignment is not what we're talking about today. And then finally, we have the Writing Style APA tab, and this will be so valuable. Once you get your hands on your article and you've pulled out the information that you need, you're going to need to write a paper in APA style. And there are very specific rules for how the paper should be formatted, and the font, and the indentations, and the header, and all that kind of stuff. And in addition to what the paper should look like, there's also rules about the citations. So what should your reference list at the end look like? You know, where's the comma supposed to go? Where should the italics be? What should be capitalized? There's a lot of rules about that. This tab, the Writing Style APA tab, is a great resource for that. So we have some guides linked here, or some students prefer to just get into some examples. So we have some paper examples and templates and a checklist. And this link right here is so handy, this APA 7 and Microsoft Word video. It's so fast, it will show you how to open up Microsoft Word and literally exactly where to click in order to set up the paper the right way with the right hanging indents and everything. Before we start searching for articles, I want to point out this person right here. This is Nikki Waldrop. She is your undergraduate librarian, and she is wonderful, helpful, approachable, understanding. If you have any questions about this assignment or anything else that you're supposed to be doing throughout your college career, please contact Nikki. This is what we are here for. We are here to answer your questions. You can see that she has an email me link right here, so you can send her a quick email. If you prefer to have kind of personal contact, or you think you have a lot of questions, you can schedule an appointment with her. So if you click on schedule appointment, it's going to let you book her directly. You just get right on her calendar. It sets up a Zoom link automatically for you. It's great. And of course, our contact information is down here. You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram as well. We also have this Ask Us tab over here. So the Ask Us tab is kind of like a frequently asked questions over here on the right-hand side. So if you have just a quick question about APA formatting or how to narrow things down, how to tell if something is peer-reviewed, click on Ask Us and start typing your question, and chances are pretty good that we've already answered this question for someone else and that we've posted the answer. So with all that being said, let's get into actually searching. I think for this assignment, it is fairly broad. You know, you just pick any topic about psychology and you find a scholarly peer-reviewed article about it. So I'll start with a really broad idea of anxiety. I hear so much about anxiety lately. So that is a topic that's of interest to me. So I'm searching for the term anxiety, and I just searched for in the whole library catalog across all of our databases and all of our books and absolutely everything. So when I searched for anxiety, I wound up with 619,000 search results. So that's good news and bad news. The good news is people are definitely studying and writing about and talking about anxiety. The bad news is that's so much. I am never going to be able to even skim through all of these. I need to find a way to narrow it down. So the first thing that I'm going to do is look at my search term. Okay, the term anxiety, I am only interested in the psychology side of anxiety, but I might be getting search results about, you know, this coming of age novel discusses the protagonist's anxiety, or you know, economic anxiety contributed to the 2016 election. There are many different terms that use the word anxiety that are not what I'm interested in. So I'll start by using the psychology term. So instead of saying just anxiety, I thought, okay, how do psychologists describe the disorder of anxiety? So we have generalized anxiety disorder. When I search for that, that's going to bring me back more psychology-related information. So that's an example of changing a keyword, using something that more accurately describes what I'm talking about. And you'll also notice that I put quotation marks here. And the quotation marks are to make these three words stick together in this order. So I want the databases and the catalog to bring back articles that use these three words in this specific order, makes them stick together as a phrase. So when I change to generalized anxiety disorder with quotation marks around it, I go from 619,000 search results to only 16,000 search results. That is still a ton, but we've lost hundreds of thousands of articles that were not relevant to my topic at all. So that's actually a victory to lose search results like this. Then you can narrow down still further. Okay, what about generalized anxiety disorder do I want to know? Do I want to know how it exists with another condition? Do I want to know what it's like in specific populations? Do I want to know about like what drugs might be used to treat it? So I can add on another concept here. So let's say that I want to look at generalized anxiety disorder in the male population. So I would put this and connector here. So I put the word and in caps, and then I put male. So I put my first concept here, and then the word and in caps, and then my second concept of male here. And when I combine together search terms like this, I'm really narrowing it down. I'm telling the search engine I don't want to see just generalized anxiety disorder. I don't want to see just male. It's got to have both of these terms in it or I'm not interested. So when you combine together search terms like this, you are going to get a lot fewer search results, but they're going to be more targeted. Oops. And you can see how sometimes it goes rogue on me. It somehow decided to search in only the titles. So something weird happens in the beginning of your search term, you can just delete that. So I took away the TI colon that mysteriously appeared. There we go. Okay. So searching for generalized anxiety disorder and male, now I've narrowed it down to only 4,000 search results. Great. And I'm starting to see how my search is narrowing. So now I'm getting information about GAD in dysfunctional families, GAD in emergency room patients, healthcare use. These are really interesting. GAD in youth diagnostic considerations. I think that I am interested in narrowing it a little bit further. Maybe I'm interested in alcohol use among this population. So do males with GAD use more alcohol, less alcohol? Does alcohol use have some sort of effect on their diagnoses? So I can keep on adding concepts here. So at the end of my search string, I have generalized anxiety disorder and male and alcohol. So all three of these terms have to be present for me to be interested. And it just does keep putting TI for title in there. So we just keep deleting that. Okay, so we're down to 773 search results. And it looks like these are on the right track. These are the kinds of articles that I was interested in. So I think that we've got our search string pretty well set up. Now let's talk about how to filter it using the filters on the left-hand side. So I will scroll down just a bit. We know for this project, we are only supposed to be using scholarly articles. We don't want to read a book. That's too much for this project. So under Format, I can say Articles Only. So I'll check that off. It's not going to lose too many because there are only 4 books to start with. Then you can look in the Content Type area. You'll want to check off Full Text right here. And what that will do is tell the database, only show me articles where I have one-click easy access. I don't want just, hints about articles that exist, but we have to go track them down somewhere. I only want to see articles that I can get full text right now. Then you will want to check off peer-reviewed, and that is because your professor said in the assignment instructions that you need to use scholarly peer-reviewed articles. Why does he care about this? Because peer-reviewed is a flag that the science in this article is probably trustworthy. The peer review process means that the researchers conducted this study, they wrote up this article, they sent it to a journal to get published, but before the journal published it, they said, hold on, we're going to get some experts to look at this article and evaluate whether it's good science and trustworthy information. And what that means for you as a student is that you can trust the information that's in peer-reviewed articles a little bit more. Some expert has looked at it and said, yeah, I think that this is good. So we will check off peer-reviewed here. And you see that we're slowly chipping away. We've lost about another 100 search results. And then finally, let's look at the publication year. I don't think that this assignment specifically says how old your article needs to be. Usually a good rule is to look at about the last 5 years or the last 10 years, just to make sure that you are looking at the most recent scientific information. And while it loads, you can see up here that it reminds us which filters we've already chosen. So 325. Okay, so let's start looking at some of these articles and deciding whether we want to use it or not. I will click on the title of this first article, and let's explore it a little bit before we commit. So I clicked on the title of the first article. Generalized anxiety disorder is under-recognized in clinical practice in patients with alcohol dependence in France. We have the author's information. We have the information about the journal where it was published. All this stuff is going to be really important when you do your citations later on, because part of APA style is to say what's the title, who are the authors, what journal did it come from. This journal is simply called Alcohol. The volume, the issue number, the year, the pages. You'll use all of this in your citation and references. And then before you actually start reading the article itself, look at anything that's labeled summary or abstract. So I'm going to click on show more here. So the summary or the abstract is well worth reading before you read the actual article, because it condenses everything that you need to know. What's the study about? Who were the patients? What were the findings? What survey or what intervention did we do with these patients? So it gives you everything in a nice little package. So you can skim over that and decide, is this what I'm interested in? If you skim over this and decide, oh gosh, yeah, this looks really interesting, I want to read this, you would come up to the top right corner and click View Full Text. And it may ask you to sign in. You just use the same login that you use for your email. And here is the actual article itself. You can just read it here on the screen. Some people prefer to see the PDF, so you could click on View PDF and download it and print it and so on. We'll just read it here on the screen. So again, it reminds you the title, the author's name. Again, you have the abstract, that summary of what it's about. And then as you scroll down, you start to see labels that look like what's in your structured reading handout. So I believe y'all have this in your syllabus or in your Canvas course. This is the handout that you need to fill out as part of this project. You are going to need to say what's in the introduction, what's in the methods section, what were the results of the study, the discussion, which means like what does it mean for the field and what should future researchers do and how you would extend the study. These are all going to be listed pretty much in this order in the article itself. So here's the introduction, where you get information about like, how are you defining this disorder? What do we already know about this? Materials and methods, this is where they tell you information about who were the patients, like what kind of people did you look at for this? How many people did you look at? Did you give them a drug? Did you administer some kind of survey to them? How did you do the statistical analysis? So this is all the nitty-gritty details of how they did the study. And then the results section is going to tell you, well, what happened? What is the data that came out of this? And you should be looking for things like this: raw numbers, tables like we have here. Let's see, charts like we have here. What this tells you is that this is a research article where the authors actually went out and interviewed real human beings or gave them some sort of drug or basically did on-the-ground research. What you do not want for this assignment is a review or a meta-analysis. Let me go look at the instructions for this paper. So, yes, in huge capital letters, do not use a review or meta-analysis for this project. A review or a meta-analysis is a kind of article where the authors didn't actually go do anything to patients. They didn't administer a study to actual patients. What they did is read a whole bunch of articles on a topic and write up a summary of what all the findings were from all those other papers. So when you're picking an article for this project, make sure that you pick one where it looks like they went and actually did something or in some way observed actual people. So you can get that information from the abstract, or when you see tables and charts and graphs, that's going to be a great sign that you're on the right track. So we have lots of information about the results. When you see a lot of numbers, that's a great sign. The discussion section, so we already got the results of what happened. So now let's talk about what it means for the world in general, for other researchers, what they should be doing next. So the discussion section is helpful for that. This study is really nice because they kindly labeled their section about study bias. So they are examining, well, what are the weaknesses and the limitations of our study? No study is perfect. Let's talk about how there are some flaws and how other researchers can maybe correct for the flaws in our study. And that would be in the structured notes part. limits of the study. And then continuing to scroll down, gosh, they really talk a lot about the limits of their study. A conflict of interest is where they have to say if they work for like a pharmaceutical company or something like that. And then you have a ton of references. So all the articles that they cited earlier are listed here in their references. So after you pull out all the information that you need for your structured notes and you write your paper, you are going to need to cite this article. There are generally a few shortcut buttons. So in this database, they put the cite button right here. Cite. And, oh, well, this one's a little tricky. It does not give you the prettiest kind of citation, so I'll show you a better way to do it. I will click back to the library catalog search result where we had clicked view full text, and you can click cite right here, just under the result 1 of 325. Cite, you select a citation style. We are using APA 7 in this class and throughout your Brenau career. And basically this is a bot that tries to read the page and tries to make a correct APA style citation or reference for this exact article. And this is a miracle. This citation or reference appears to be actually correct. 90% of the time there's some flaw in these references, so you have to double check and make sure that it's correct before you just copy and paste it and move on with your life. But this one looks all right. We have the author's last names and first initials. We have the year that it was published. We have the title of the article, mostly in lowercase. Oh, wait, I did find an error. Haha. The robot forgot to capitalize France. Okay, but generally these are going to be all lowercase. The name of the journal that it came from in italics, the name of the volume number, then the issue number, then the page numbers, and the DOI, which is like a link that will tell other researchers how to get to this article. So you could copy this citation, make sure you fix that France capitalization issue, and use that in your paper. So I believe that that is everything that I wanted to talk about today. Here are the links to what we looked at. We navigated to the library homepage, library.brenau.edu. Then we went to the LibGuide link and to psychology until we arrived at the LibGuide for PY101, Intro to Psychology. If you guys have any questions, please remember to contact the library, and I will show you that information one more time. Here is Nikki Waldrop. She is your undergraduate librarian. You can hit email me, you can schedule an appointment, or you can use this handy little Ask Us button to ask frequently asked questions or submit a question of your own. Thanks so much, and good luck with your assignment.